growing up, our house was full of love. We could just have a good time together. We didn't have to go out every weekend or everything. We just had fun times together at home. Our parents were jokesters. My dad was the biggest one of them all. We all went to church. My parents used to teach Sunday school. Eventually there was political issues that drove my parents away from the church, and pretty much all of us kids left the church as well. And we had nothing to do with it. They had a lot of hurt in their life for what had happened to my dad's sister at the church. So I don't know if maybe they thought maybe God had let them down as well. I knew God. I knew He was there. I knew He was my Savior still. But I kept God at an arm's length, and I did what I wanted to do. When my mom passed in 2004, it's pretty much when things really got, heavy on me. Mom and I we could just sit and just talk forever about anything and anything we wanted to. Just laugh and we just had a good time together. She had lots of things that started just going wrong. She was one like us. Unless you're bleeding to death or something, she wasn't one to go to that doctor or anything. And it was just a matter of everything just started closing up on her. For some reason to me, our last visit to the hospital, I put guilt on me for her passing. Because once I got there, it was like the family's there, I can go. And for some reason, I put the blame on me. I just felt like a lot of weight, and I needed to get that weight lifted off my shoulders. And I actually started coming here. I don't know if it was a message that Dave probably did, and it just rung with me that I needed to get things right. And that evening I was at my apartment, I got on my knees and I prayed, and I rededicated my life to God and put Him first and foremost in my life. I got introduced actually to Kirk, who got me involved with the tech and everything, and I fell in love with the place. The people, didn't matter who you were or what you looked like, they welcomed you, and I just felt something that I hadn't felt for a long time. When I had people at work coming up and going, "What's different about you? Something has changed about you." And I said, "I've got God in my life now, and things are getting better." Dad was slowly sick. Dad was a mechanic, so he was around asbestos all of his life, around brake stuff. So with Mom passing away, it took a big toll on him. Health-wise, it really got to him finally. And it was 2 weeks of watching him go out of a shell of the man that he used to be. It was easier when Dad passed. I was more prepared for it because I had God by my side. I knew He was with me. I knew He was with my dad, and I was with my mom. So I knew where he was headed, and I knew his life would be so much better. I guess 3 months prior to last year's July, I hadn't been myself. I was on a diet, but losing weight quicker than what I thought I was going to be. So I went to the doctor. Ended up doing a CT scan on me, and July 7th, I was diagnosed with cancer. And what they thought was originally stage 1 at the beginning, ended up it was stage 4, which they figure started in my lungs and in my liver. My liver is full of tumors as well as my lung, but not my lungs are not as bad as my tumors in my liver at the present time. So they wanted to put me on to chemo, so I had my port put in. I started doing the treatment that, according to the federal government, this is how it's supposed to go, and which wasn't working. When they did the CT scan, I was 90% full. But what was a blessing to me was that my liver was still working the way it was supposed to, which was amazing in itself. Then they switched me over to this new treatment, which my sister ended up actually taking me to Michigan for this whole time because I wasn't eating. I just wanted to lay around and not take care of myself, which was the wrong thing to do. I was just emotionally drained. I was like, how did somebody get lung cancer and liver cancer when you've never smoked or drank a day in your life? And it's just like, what do you do now? So I've continued to take it one step at a time. One of my favorite Bible verses is, "We walk by faith, not by sight." So it's been a big part of my life right now. That verse has been constantly in my head doing that. I pray that maybe there will be a healing that unlike anybody's seen before. A lot of the times I pray just to get through my next day through the pain and the nausea that I have to deal with. I'm at peace with whatever He decides for me. If God decides to take me home, I know where my home is at. My big thing has been, if this would be something that would get my brother and sister on board with Christ, with me passing away, then let it be. Then I'll gladly go. I want them to have a future in knowing that this is not the end. There's more to it than just this. And I want our family back together. It's tested me, but I think it's grown me stronger. And I would still give hope to those who are out there who are struggling, that don't give up. God is there. He's never going to leave you. He is always going to be there. And when the time has come, God's going to work it out in His way and His time. It's all in His timing, but don't give up on Him. He's always going to be there for you.